What is up, everybody? James Jackson here. Welcome back to the Rebel Loving Scum. Today we are going to be talking about The Mandalorian, Chapter 13, Episode 5. Also, it is known as, aka The Jedi. We're going to be doing a review discussion. So normally, y'all probably realize, first of all, let me just go ahead and say, you probably noticed that the setting is a little bit different than what I normally have. I'm actually at my family's house, so I'm away here for Thanksgiving. By the way, happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Hopefully you guys had a good Thanksgiving yesterday, and you're having a good going into the weekend today. So I actually made a reaction video of this episode, but for whatever reason, Disney decided to pick on my channel for my reaction videos, which is crazy because I follow all the fair use. It's under 10 minutes. I actually put an overlay and modified it. But I'm still getting the copyright strikes from YouTube. So unfortunately, I was not going to do, because obviously once I've done the reaction, I can't just redo the reaction because it's not authentic, and I don't want to be inauthentic to you guys, especially when it comes to Star Wars. So I've decided to upload the reaction video onto my Patreon page. Now, my Patreon, by the way, so my Patreon page is sort of a mixture because I actually have two channels. I have my Star Wars channel, which this is right here, but I also have another channel that's quite a bit bigger than this channel, because I'm a big film buff, I'm a big camera gear buff, so I do a lot of talks about camera gear, film and video productions. So my other channel, James Jackson Films, is also a part of that Patreon page as well. So it's a mixture of all the things that I do in terms of online content. But in case of this reaction video, I actually, because normally I have a tab on my Patreon page that is exclusively for this channel and The Mandalorian. But because normally this would be uploaded for you guys to see on YouTube, I opened it up to the public, so you don't even have to be a Patreon to watch the reaction video. So I'm gonna leave a link to my Patreon page. Go check that out, and if you guys actually end up supporting, my Patreon page, I would happily love that. But you don't have to. Again, you can watch my reaction video, without becoming a Patreon. But I would love you guys to become a Patreon. Hopefully, I can continue growing this channel as well. But today I'm going to be doing a review and breakdown. So today is going to be more of a review discussion video about this episode. So I'm going to just give my quick overall thoughts, and then I'm going to go into different sections of discussions. Now, overall, my thoughts are, this is the best episode of The Mandalorian this season. If you are a Star Wars fan, this is you are going to love this. I love it for the simple fact that there's so many things to love about it. By the way, this is a spoiler review. If you haven't seen the episode, go watch it. Because I'm not gonna. There's no way to talk about it because basically the first 2 minutes talks about a very specific character. So if you haven't seen the episode, watch it. Come back here. All right. So, Ahsoka Tano. This episode involves Ahsoka Tano. It's directed by Dave Filoni, but overall, my thoughts are, there are so many things I love about it, and I'll get to the shots. There's so many beautiful shots. Dave Filoni has really grown as a director from his live action directorial debut in the first season of The Mandalorian. It's gotten so much better. Rosario Dawson played Ahsoka perfectly. I looked at Rosario Dawson and her portrayal, and I was like, that is Ahsoka Tano. So I was so happy that we got so much more backstory about the child, which we will get into, and just the overall tone and feel. This was to me, this is the perfect blending of things that are Star Wars. And I will go into that more. And then there's just so many Easter eggs. It hit every single notch that I want from this series. It hit every single one of them. Easter eggs, the scenery, the character developments, the directorial directions, everything about this episode was like top notch. So to me, it's like the first episode, which was the one Jon Favreau directed, that to me was the best episode of the season. And then until Carl Weathers' episode last week, I was like, oh no, this is the best episode of the season. Now Dave Filoni has added it up with this episode, and not only is the best episode of the season to me, this is the best episode of the series. So overall, I love this episode. I think it opens up so many directions. Some that I know a lot of people are concerned. A lot, my bit as well. But I was so happy at how it was shot, the choreography, the action. It was just great. So those are my overall thoughts. Now let's get into the deep dive. So we got to talk about Dave Filoni. Now, I would say Dave Filoni probably had, I think, most people's least favorite episodes of season 1, which was episode 1 as well as chapter 5. Here, and I know this is going to be a shock to quite a few people. Chapter 5 is I actually like chapter 5 a lot. Now, granted, I'm not going to like be like delusional that the writing was great. No, the writing was bad. The characters on there were super cheesy, but I also feel that's also part of Star Wars. The cheese is part of Star Wars. It is what it is, and I think Dave Filoni understood that. But the reason why I love I don't love chapter 5. I really, really like chapter 5 because the one thing I will always say about Dave Filoni is that he knows how to expand the universe. He always knows how to he throws things that if you are a big Star Wars nerd, he just throws things at just little things. In the case of the Gunslinger episode, it was the fact that the Sand People are not just these brute savages that everybody makes out. And Jon Favreau actually like took that to a notch in the first episode of this season and really expanded that lore part. I love the fact that he expanded the story of Tatooine. If you've seen my if you want, you need to go back and watch my review of season 1. I did Act 1, which I consider chapters 1, 2, and 3, and then Act 2, which is chapters 4, 5, and 6. I still haven't done Act 3, which is 7 and 8. And I'm probably going to talk about that once we get to the end of the season because it seems like they're all sort of tying in together. And it just seems to be fit there. But if you go watch my review of chapter 5, you'll see how he ties so much into different parts, not just from his storyline and the storyline we all know from the Saga series and Clone Wars, but also he throws, again, the Sand People goes all the way back to something like Knights of the Old Republic. So that's basically what I'm trying to say is Dave Filoni, while his directorial ways in season 1 were to me, I will definitely agree they're the weakest of, if you're looking at all the directors, Rick Famuyiwa, Deborah Chow, and Taika Waititi, in terms of directing his actors, he was the weakest, but in terms of his world building, it was amazing. Dave Filoni has taken this whole thing up a notch. Not only as a director, just the way he sets moods, he clearly understands this universe a lot better than probably most people are that involved in this project in Star Wars. He gave off this vibe of a mixture of samurai and Western. Like, we all know that The Mandalorian it's like pretty much an episodic Western. Spaghetti Western, and I'm totally happy about that. But the part that's also Star Wars is like the inspiration is from those samurai movies and TV series as well. And this episode is like the perfect blending of the two. Like the whole opening shot where Ahsoka's like doing this assault on the fort. It's like it totally reminded me of of like Ghost of Tsushima, where it's just this one little this thing. She's basically like a ghost. She just comes in and out. She disappears. Like she's like most of y'all probably she's Batman essentially in this movie, in this episode. She's pretty much Batman. She's just going in, killing people, disappearing, and I'm like, and it was so awesome, and just the tone and the atmosphere. Uh, it was so well done. Like, I mean, the plot line is pretty much like it's been like every other episode. Hey, Mando goes here. Mando needs to get to point B, but in order to get to point B, he has to help this person out. That's basically I think we come to terms. That's basically what this season's about, and I'm perfectly fine with that, as long as you give us some more things that breach into the Star Wars lore, which we'll get into. But overall, I thought he did a good job. Just the small, because he's clearly learned from the other directors, because he has these moments. The moment where Ahsoka is just having that little, it's like there's no dialogue, but the way Ahsoka and Grogu, which now we know his name is Grogu. But the moment that moment of just Ahsoka and the child just interacting with each other, no dialogue. It's so beautiful. The moment that he's taking these times to do these moments, and it's clearly that they built up these characters, and he has now really shined. He's gotten exceptionally better. So kudos to Dave Filoni. So now to the director. I gotta talk about the cinematography. Holy crap, is this episode beautiful. It's dark, it's grungy, but it is gorgeously shot. There is so many shots in this episode that are pretty much like screen grabs. I want to screen grab this. I cannot wait to sort of dissect the palette and see if I can sort of emulate that palette. Oh my god, it was a beautiful shot. The planet of Corvus, it has such a, again, I get a lot of Ghost of Tsushima vibes, where it's like this town has been destroyed, this planet has been ravaged, and there's pretty much almost nothing left. It's like this woman, this magistrate lady, has pretty much like ravaged the planet, and it's interesting that the dichotomy is like the people are out in this fortress are suffering and dying, and she has this little like zen tranquility, like little space where she stays at. The dynamics, it's a very Elysium moment about it, where it's just like you see the suffrage of the people that are in this town, and then where she stays at is like this very lush, calming area. And it leads, and I love how he just leads to simple things like the Beskar Steel. The Beskar Steel, and then like there's certain shots, like the shot where the Mando first arrives, and then we see how it changes and flips near the end of the episode when Ahsoka and the Magistrate have this duel, which is very, 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 very samurai. I was like, oh my god, there was a couple shots. Again, it was just mwah, beautiful. It's the planet, like I said, it's like barren and gone, but it has this beautiful thing. There's these giant creatures that are just like roaming. They look like giant oversized blurgs, like super huge blurgs, and they're just in the background, just slowly walking around, just eating like whatever remaining branches. It just his world building is just insane, and the cinematography. Whoever did the cinematography of this episode, big props. It is done so well. And all right, well, let's get into the characters. We gotta obviously start at the top with Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano was done perfectly here. I mean, I've expected it to be done well. This is Dave Filoni's baby. Even though he didn't necessarily, I don't think he was directing the actual movie that introduced Ahsoka Tano, but he really matured her and groomed her and helped bring her into the character that everybody knows and loves now. And Rosario Dawson did an excellent job with this character and how she portrayed him. It's like this because she's been through so much. She's not willing to just go in and just start doing things like the ways of the Jedi before. So she comes across Grogu and Din Djarin, and basically she's already sees that he has formed attachments and emotional, and she sees that it's like, look, I can't train him because I've seen what it has done to the best of the Jedi. And I love the fact that she's not just because I was like, I am a Jedi. No, she's just who she is. She's going to do what she feels is right. She isn't a Jedi. She is Ahsoka Tano. And I think it's one of the most beautiful things about it. It's the fact, and Rosario Dawson did a good job. And then the action sequences, again, where she's just slicing and dicing, both in the beginning and then at the end, where she comes in like this ghost. And it's like she just quickly it's so ninja-like, so Ghost of Tsushima, so Batman-like. It was an amazing, amazing thing. But now we got to talk about Grogu, or the child. So we now know his name. His name is Grogu. We know quite a little bit more about his backstory, that he actually was trained in the Jedi, and he had many masters. And then when the Empire took over, somebody hid him away, and he's sort of just been on his own and trying to just trying to survive throughout the world these past 30 years, roughly. It's roughly been 30 years. So, though it opens a lot of questions, and it doesn't close the big one that I think a lot of us are concerned. It's like, we don't, as much as we like to have things go back to the larger movies, I think the thing that we all like about The Mandalorian is that it's its own thing. And we kind of were like, we don't want this. A lot of people, and myself included, we don't want it to tie saying this person has direct ties to a certain other character, obviously Master Yoda. So when we learn about the fact that he was trained in the Jedi, and he was trained at the temple on Coruscant, he was raised there, doesn't really open the door. In fact, it probably gives more credence to it. So again, if you're somebody that's been trying to keep the Mandalorian one of the separated from the movies, this kind of doesn't do any justice. I like the fact that we get a little bit more of his story. What I'm hoping now is again, if we don't touch it, that this is Yoda's descendant. I hope that's not. I hope that's not. I just hope that, hey, this is somebody that was found. He was trained in the Jedi, and he's not. He's just part of Yoda's species, but we don't know exactly where that's going to lead. But it's clear. But one of the things I'm so glad that Ahsoka sort of brought up about this about Grogu is the fact that he again, I brought up the bonding attachment, but the attachment, and that's because that's what this series is about. The series is about Grogu and Din Djarin. It is their journey together and the bond that they form, and it's clear he's come to attach to you, and it can make his emotions unstable. It can draw on his fear and his anger. And we've already seen it. We've seen Baby Yoda do some dark stuff. I mean, besides eating the last of a line of a species, he force choked Cara Dune in season 1. Like when she felt she was threatening Din Djarin, he force choked Cara Dune. So he has the capabilities of going dark. So she sees that as just like, if I train him, he can not, and he doesn't have control of his emotions, I can be doing more damage than good. And I really hope they continue exploring that with Grogu. I really hope that they continue to show that he has a dark side, and actually have Mando be the one to be like that has to keep his dark side in check. I think that would possibly be a really, really good exploration of seeing Din trying to keep his darker behaviors in under control. So we'll see that. Man, I mean, Din Djarin's been basically Din Djarin. I think, you know, even though he's ready to, like, he's like, I've got a task, I got to go do my task, but we also still see him grow. Because if we talk, like, he was, when he arrives, he's been assigned to hunt and kill Ahsoka Tano. And he was even given, like, if you kill the Jedi, I'll give you this spear that's made of pure Beskar. Which, by the way, I'm sorry, Beskar it's now getting to the point where it is like on some vibranium, where it's like it does whatever we need to do to sort of make the plot forward. It's gotten to the point where it's getting to, it's like it's more of a it's more of a what people sort of call it, like the thing that always holds, like, you're not, that loses tension. It loses tension. It makes tensions lose, which is always what I was concerned about with Baby Yoda, because it's like if Mando ever got in trouble, Baby Yoda could just save him. But that's not the. But I don't know why, if lightsabers can't even break Beskar steel. And I get it. Like, Mandalorians have built weapons and technology that is designed to fight the Jedi. So in a way, it makes sense. But this has gotten a bit too. I think Beskar is starting to get a little bit too powerful for my liking, simply because it's getting to the point where it's just like, man, I'm not concerned with Mando anymore, because he's like, he could take I mean, we've seen him just take like 20 bullets and just get up and nothing's wrong. We've seen him, and now we see them like there's a shot where he first meets Ahsoka, she attacks him, and he's blocking her lightsabers with his Beskar brace. I'm like, it's getting a little bit too much, but I'm digressing a little bit. The point I'm trying to make is that we've seen it, because he didn't take the spear. He was just like, I was assigned to kill you, but honestly, I didn't agree. He was close to the term. It's like, yeah, I've heard, where can I find a Jedi? He never agreed to kill her. So he has no need to hold his word. So I was saying it's growth, because Mando in season 1, he would have taken the job and he probably would have gone after Ahsoka. But now he was just like, nah, I'm just here to do this, get the kid. You know, that's your business. So I do like the growth, the continued growth that we have. And now he gets this spear steel, this steel Beskar spear, and I'm like, oh great, weapons upgrade, nice, which was dope. And I think that's going to be probably a little thing that we are going to see later on in the series, where he has to go against Moff, because now we know it can go against lightsabers. And we all know Moff Gideon has the dark saber, so this spear, we can see I can totally see, like, Mando going one-on-one with Gideon, dark saber versus the Beskar steel. So if that does happen, I will be really, really interested in seeing that. So and then the other characters, I mean, because every other character is sort of just like, it's there to serve the plot, and it's been like that way for pretty much throughout the season. It's like you have your Baby Yoda, or I'm sorry, Grogu. You have Grogu, Din Djarin, and you have the special guest of the day. You know, episode 1 was Cobb Vanth. Episode 2 was Frog Lady. Episode 3 was Bo-Katan. Episode 4 was Cara Dune and Greef Karga. And today it was Ahsoka Tano. So basically, it's like you have those characters, and then you got everybody else around. Like, if you ain't a major player, pretty much it's like of the series, it's sort of just like a little. It's just like, hey, you're there, and that's fine. I'm totally fine with that. The combat. Let's go to the combat. The combat was awesome, and I love the fact that we got just a little bit of Jedi versus Mandalorian. That is something we haven't seen since Attack of the Clones, at least in live action. So I was really excited. It was just a brief bit to sort of see that little dynamic between Jedi and Mandalorian. So that was fun. But really, like, again, the combat was like the perfect. It was so like a perfect blend of Western and samurai. Whereas Ahsoka had this sort of samurai move where she was going up, climbing up top of buildings and running across, sneaking around, doing ninja, going full on ninja attacks, just sneaking in, creeping out, taking one people at a time. And Mando was sort of more of standoff. It's good old standard standoff Western between him and Michael Biehn. Michael Biehn actually showed up. And for those of you, that's Kyle Reese from the original Terminator and also in Aliens. So and I thought it was a good dichotomy between Din Djarin and Michael Bihn's character. I don't even know if they gave him a soldier. They just saw it's like the hired soldier, and then the Magistry versus Ahsoka. I like the dichotomy. It's like you had the Western with Din Djarin and Michael Bihn's character, and then you had the samurai of Ahsoka Tano and the Magistry. I love the dichotomy because, and that's the thing that I wanted to bring up. The dichotomy is for so long it's just been a Western, and I have nothing problem this being a Western. But part of Star Wars is also samurai. It's deep into this like inspired by samurai movies, samurai TV shows. So I love the fact that Dave Filoni embraced both sides, and that's why I say of all the episodes of The Mandalorian, this is like this is the Star Wars. This is the most Star Wars episode of The Mandalorian. I don't need to see it every episode. I don't even want it every episode but an episode like this, I thought it was beautifully done well, and I think the combat showed it. It's like a good combination of Western and as well as samurai. So that was the fight between her, the Magistrate, and Ahsoka was I loved it. It was like a nice little standoff. You had that pose where it's like you had the opposite side in the like gorgeous like Asian style building. So to me the combat was ace. So finally I want to just talk about the more geeky stuff, the things that the Easter eggs that were dropped, because holy crap, there was a whole bunch of Easter eggs. Some that Star Wars fans are aware of, the ones that are just familiar with the movie. Some that are like go deeper where they know Rebels and Clone Wars, and then there's some really really deep ones that like you have to go knowing well into the expanded lore. But the first one that was dropped was the one that's like when she's talking about, I've seen this happen to the best of us. She clearly is talking about Anakin, and it's like she's clearly talking about Anakin, like how Anakin allowed his fear to develop into his anger, and basically how he fell to the dark side and basically caused the destruction of the Jedi. So that little Easter egg was cool, and then they throw other Easter eggs in there. Like if y'all didn't notice, there was the owl at the end. That was clearly Morai from Clone Wars, which is the daughter that is designed that's always watching over Ahsoka Tano. The owl goes everywhere that Ahsoka goes. And then there's also other Easter eggs. I think the big one at the end was, well, not at the end, but near the end, was because all the time Ahsoka's looking for this information, and then she's like, "Who's your master?" And then everybody's, well, what master? And then she's like, "Where's Grand Admiral Thrawn?" She's looking for Thrawn, which means she's still looking for Ezra, which also gives the signal that Thrawn is back, but he's sort of hiding in the works. So I don't know if that means Ezra's alive. A lot of people are assuming it means Ezra's alive. We don't know, but it will be interesting to see. And then there's even deeper cuts where you go into like HK. The HK she's got 2 HK droids. I think they're like HK-88. So when he said that, I was like, wait, what? I don't remember seeing HK droids. And there must be these like new advanced models. But yeah, so HK droids, which basically is a throwback to HK-47 from Knights of the Old Republic, which was like this smart aleck talking droid that called everybody meatbags. So he's one of the most beloved characters from that game, and just from like the Old Republic era. So and to hear is like they throw a little bit of HK in there. That's cool. But there's even even deeper cut Old Republic talk, and it's like go to the planet where Ahsoka at the end she says, "Look, I can't train him, but hey, here's what you could do: go to the planet Typhon, and put him on. It's like take him up to the mountain, and there he will decide his path." When she said go to Typhon, I literally geeked out. Again, if you want to see it, watch my reaction video on my Patreon page. Go check that out. But I started like if you've been even checking out any of my videos on this channel, you know that I am a huge lore nut when it comes to the Old Republic. And I'm not just talking about Knights of the Old Republic. I'm talking about throughout the Old Republic. And Typhon has been something that I'm surprised nobody really talks about, because it's probably one of the biggest things regarding one of the largest Star Wars game IPs that have been developed, and that was Star Wars: The Old Republic. Because and it's directly from, most people say it's like, oh, it's from the comics. No, and it has a lot of deep lore in the Old Republic. It is in the legends. Typhon is actually the origin homeworld of the Jedi Knight. It is where the Jedi Order was first founded. It was where the first dark side users came about, and it's where the first war between light side and dark side happened. It is where the lighter side of the Force defeated the dark side and banished them out. And basically, it was that set the path to them going to Korriban, to where eventually they breed with the inhabitant species and eventually becomes the Sith. So Typhon has a lot of history, and you can learn all of this, and all of this is all in the Old Republic game, the MMO game that's in there, and this is all it's the starter planet. So this is the planet you just start off. You get all of this stuff right out from the gate. There's BioWare built a whole story arc around this to finally see this planet, which I was thinking this was the planet we're going to see in The Last Jedi. That didn't end up being the case. But now that we're seeing Typhon canon, like as an Old Republic, I still play the Old Republic from time to time. As someone who's played it this has been out for 9 years. It's been damn near 9 years since that game launched, and I played that game since the game it launched. To see Typhon become canon, I nerded out. I nerded out more than I heard about Grand Admiral Thrawn. Call me what you want, but I really am now curious to see what they do with Typhon and how we're going to see it in live action, how it's going to see it in canon. But the fact, again, something from the Old Republic is something being canonized. I really would love to see what the people at BioWare Austin are thinking about this recent episode of The Mandalorian and what their thoughts are. I would love to hear from them. But yeah, again, those are so many things to love about this. The action was great. The cinematography was beautiful. Dave Filoni has amped up his directorial skills immensely from last season. Rosario Dawson did an amazing job as Ahsoka Tano. Again, we learn more character development from Din and Grogu. It's going to be a while for me to get used to saying that. So, Grogu. So allow me to give me time before saying it, but I'm going to try to make sure, because that is his name, it's Grogu. So just like I'm going to call Mando Din, I'm going to call Baby Yoda Grogu. Which, by the way, sounds way too similar to Goku from Dragon Ball Z. So, but overall, this is an A+ episode. This is an amazing episode. Right now, season 2 has been knocking it out of the park. I really can't wait. My only concern is I'm concerning that they're trying to do too much, because right now the past like 3 episodes, they've been tying things back to the larger universe, which I don't have a problem. But now we're seeing it tying more and more to the main Star Wars timeline that is the movies, and I don't want that. I don't. The one thing I'm concerned is, like, I don't want to see Luke Skywalker. I do not want to see Luke Skywalker in this series. I like, leave the Skywalker. Please just leave the Skywalkers alone. Let's just continue building the universe. I don't mind getting characters from that universe or from that time frame that's not directly tied to the Skywalker lineage. So Leia, Luke, Han, all these big, keep them out. Let's get more of these other characters that sort of been in comic books and animated series, and really use them to enhance the stories. Because that's always what Dave Filoni talked about. It's like, when he talked about it in the gallery last week, when he was like, it's like your big brother had all the cool toys and you were left with, an Ugnaught, Blurgs, and Jawas. But you had Boba Fett, and you decided to dye him a different color, blue, to make him look cooler. That's sort of what this series is about. It's like getting the smaller, the all the different people in the background a little bit more shine, and developing that world. When it does that, Mando's at its best. My only concern is that they're going to start tying things to the larger movies, and I'm just like, no. I love it when it's not putting any opinions towards the movies, whether if it's the Disney movies or not. Because I actually, for the most part, like the Disney movies. But I just want it separate. I just want it to be its own thing. But anyway, these have been my thoughts. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this episode as well. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are about this episode. Leave a like, leave a comment below. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. And until next time, may the Force be with you.